Shalom, shalom, shalom to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. It's your brother Kadar Malak. On into a breakdown going into the title of this video is the Feast of Dedication, Commandment or Tradition of Men. Right? Is it commandment or tradition of men? You got some brothers saying, if you don't keep the Feast of Dedication, it's not a sin. You don't have to keep it. You kind of can skip over this day. To hell with Feast dedications. Why am I following this? So it's made by men. Right, so you have certain non-hard teaching that you have to follow um, things that's not in the Torah. If it's not in the Torah, you don't have to follow it. You do whatever you want to do, right? So I got some notes. I got some things to go over. Let's go over. I want to put this up real quick. Let me see if I have a different layout. Like this joint right here. Like this joint right here. Okay. Nah, so let's get a quick precept. First thing first, right? What is sin? Before we start saying if you don't keep something, it's not a sin. What is the classic precept we go to? If you don't keep a commandment, it's a sin, right? So in order to see something that's a commandment, right, we gotta know if it's sin or not. This is First John 3:6. It's like the First John 3:4. Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law. So we know when you break the Torah, right, in the law, you're in sin. Okay. Now let's stay in this exact same chapter. We go to First John 5. It's like in the same book, First John 5 and verse 17. All unrighteousness is sin, and there is a sin not unto death. So hold on now. It says all unrighteousness is sin. What is unrighteousness? What is unrighteous? Let's share this. Unrighteous is from etymology.com, the etymology of unrighteous, the adjective. Unfair, not in accordance with justice, not exercising justice and virtue, right? An unjust or immoral person, sinner. So if you're unjust or immoral, now let's get that word immoral. Let's get the word immoral. Not consistent with moral law or standards, ethically wrong, okay? Contrary to common good or reasonable order, okay? So these are the things that are unrighteous. Now we know the law is righteous. And we know if you break the law, that's being unrighteous as well. But unrighteousness also, in a sense, is not being consistent with moral law standards, contrary to common good, right? And just like that other definition I pulled, right? Unjust, a sinner, not with justice, not with something righteous, not with something pure and holy and upright. So if you're not with something pure and holy and just right and common good, it's sin. Okay? It's sin. You are also commanded to be morally upright, right? It don't say in the Torah that a woman can't post on the video shaking her behind. Where's that at in the Torah? Thou shalt not twerk. It don't say that. It's not a commandment in there. But we know that's something unrighteous. We know that's not what our foremothers would do. So, and we know it's not morally correct. So, you just out there shaking your behind in the street, saying what law, what law, what law? Hey, it's unrighteous, man. It's morally, ethically not correct. Okay. So, with that being said, all unrighteousness is sin. A sin is not only just what the Torah says. A sin is not moving in the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, and not listening to the commands of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, and not listening and following the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Okay? That's what sin is. It's not, let's not make the law a carnal thing, right? Sin, transgression, being off, blots, is you not following Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua or his spirit or son. These things are sin. Now, we can obviously go to the Old Testament. First thing first, I want to get this in 1 Samuel 15. Because I got to nail that point in the head. You can sin, and it's not, quote unquote, in the Torah, showing where you sinned. Let's read this. It's 1 Samuel 15:1. Samuel also said unto Saul, Yahweh sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore, hearken thou unto the voice of Yahweh thy God. So like unto the voice of the words of Yahweh. Thus said the Lord of hosts, I remembered that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and ass, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. So Samuel told Saul, hey man, you go destroy all the Amalekites. This is from the Lord. He's talking right here. Okay. This is divinely inspired words. This is not Samuel speaking out of his behind. This is not Samuel coming up with whatever he want to do. This is Samuel getting it divinely inspired, divinely ordained words from the Most High. Okay. Now, when you read this account, we see obviously Saul does not kill all of the Amalekites. Okay. He took the king alive. He also spared Agag and the best of the sheep and the oxen. He didn't destroy every single thing. Okay. Now let's scroll down to 13. And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou of Yahweh, I have performed the commandment of the Lord. So Saul is delusional. He said, I'm keeping the commandments of the Lord. I performed the commandment of the Lord. All right. Samuel confused. He said, man, what is this bleating of sheep in my ears? Okay, now let's jump down to 22. And Samuel said, Have Yahweh as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of Yahweh? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. Show me in the Torah where it says rebellion is a sin. Rebellion is sin. Thou shalt not rebel. Where is that at in the Torah? It's not in there. But Samuel said rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft. Rebellion is exactly like you being in the sin of witchcraft. Deuteronomy the 18th chapter. Right? And stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Well, hold on now. Is Samuel adding to the law? Is Samuel speaking his own carnal words? Does Samuel don't know what's going on? Does he not know what's in the Torah? Has he not read it? Is that what's going on here? No. Ultimately, you being rebellious to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, to his spirit, to his son, being stubborn to his son, to his spirit, to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Hey, these things are sins, man. These things are like you being a witch and being an idolater. Right? So the Most High is showing you, even in the Torah, in the so-called Old Testament, that you can be in a spirit and in sin, but not be breaking, quote unquote, just the law of Moses. Okay. So Samuel, Saul got jammed up for this, man. He got rejected. He lost his kingship. I mean, and he really lost it in 1 Samuel the 13th chapter, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So this 1 Samuel 13:23 for rebellion, it's like 24. And Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned. Well, hold on now. What did he do wrong in the Torah? Show me. Where is it at? What does he do wrong? He didn't revile to God. I mean, what did he do wrong? He didn't obey the Lord. He didn't obey the Lord. I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of the Lord and thy words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. So when the Most High speaks and tell you to do something and you don't do it, it's sin. When the Most High ordains something and you don't do it, it is sin. Okay. Now let's go get some. Let's get some more precepts on this. So let's get more precepts establishing what is sin. Let's get James, the fourth chapter. Classic verse, James 4. It's the book of James, chapter 4, verse 17. Therefore, to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin. If you know to do good and you don't do it, it's a sin. You know the Sabbath day and you just keep it unholy. You don't hollow it. You break it. And you know it, and that's sin. If you know these different things and you know these things are pure, holy, upright, and you don't do it, hey, it's a sin. Whether you want to like it or not. Now, if you want to take it up with James and say, James, James, hold on now. Hey, James, I'm confused. Don't say that. Hey, you gotta take it up with James, man. One of the top three apostles, man. Yeah, Peter, James, and John. They got certain things that other apostles didn't see, man. They were on a different level, man. Hey, James was a martyr for Yahweh Shem Shai, man. He got put to death by the sword, right? When they was trying to vex the church, right during the time of 11 bread, man. Right. So James isn't confused, he isn't stupid, right? He's speaking to spirit. If you don't do things, I mean, this eliminates all of this foolishness. Okay, if you know you're supposed to be doing something good, you don't do it, it's a sin. Okay, so sin is what? Not following the spirit of God, not keeping the Torah, and vexing the Holy Spirit and not following his son. Right? Why? Now, why is it not following his son? The Most High sent his son to speak his words. The Most High sent his son to die for Israel and be the leader and the shepherd. Okay? And the shepherd of Israel. And you're not listening to the shepherd of Israel, who the Most High set up. And that's sin, man. You can't do that, man. Okay? Now, we established what sin is. What is the law? Okay? What is the law? Is the law just the Torah? No. Okay. No, we obviously know that. Let's go to First John. Let's go to John 10:34. Classic precept. Yahushua answered them, is it not written? I'm gonna start 33. The Jews answered him, saying, for a good work we stone thee not, but for blasphemy, and because that thou being a man makest thyself God. Yahushua never made himself God. He never made himself the Most High. Yahushua answered them, is it not written in your law? I said, I said. He said, I said it. Why he said I said? Because Yahushua is the word, right? Is it not written in your law? I said, ye are gods. Where is this at in the Old Testament? Let's go to Psalms, chapter 82 and verse 6. All right, these are very, very milk precepts. Psalms 82 and 6. I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High, man. So with that being said, hey, Yahweh Shai called Psalms the law. What law is in Psalms? Psalms is during the time of David. The Torah is hundreds of years back. So why is he calling Psalms the law? Because the whole Bible, the whole Spirit of God, all of that is the law. It should be taken and upholding as the law. Right? You have things in Psalms, right? You got like in Psalms, right? I'm gonna get that. Psalms 90. One. I want to make sure I'm not mistaken. That'd be Psalms. Psalms 80, 81, and 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon and the time appointed on our solemn feast day. For this was a statute for Israel and a law of the God of Jacob. So Psalms talks about the new moon. Psalms tells you to keep the new moon. Okay. So you have all of the spirit of Psalms. If you're not moving in the spirit of Psalms, if you're disobeying a vice that's in Psalms that tells you how to praise the Most High, that tell you how to follow the Most High when you're in trouble and tribulation, you're going off. Psalms isn't written here, let's just get that real quick. Psalms isn't written here so you can read it and say, damn, why David's so damn sad, man. That's not why Psalms is written. Psalms is written so you can read it and say, yeah, David, yeah, he was just sad, man. I don't know why he was so sad. He always was sad. We went through it. No, this is describing how you should be when you're in affliction. Psalms is describing what spirit you should be in when you're giving praise. Psalms is describing what spirit you should be in when you go to war. Psalms is telling you how to conduct yourself. Right? Proverbs is telling you how to conduct yourself. First Samuel, Second Samuel, the law, all of these things are teaching you how to conduct yourself. If you don't conduct yourself in a manner of the spirit of God, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, the Rakat Kudash, you're going off. You're going off. The law is spiritual. It's not carnal, right? The law isn't just the 10 Commandments, man. Right? So Israel got to get out of that doctrine. You're gonna get bugged out trying to say, hold on. Well, if it's in the Torah, if it's not in the Torah, I'm straight. Where is masturbation in the Torah? Can you masturbate? Is it a sin? Yes, it's a sin. It's concupiscence, it's covetousness, it's not being pure, it's not being holy. I mean, it's in the spirit of uncleanness, it's madness, it's in the spirit of fornication. That's why it's a sin. Okay. But is it any scripture in the Torah that verbatim says don't masturbate? No. But we cannot be carnal and low level Israelites and say because it doesn't say it, it isn't wrong or it isn't a sin. Okay. This is Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Everything was written for your learning. Psalms, like I said, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Esther, right? Judith, Tobit. All these things was written to show you what spirit you should be in, what spirit your forefathers had, and showing really how to please the Most High, man. When you read about Tobit, you don't just read it and say, this guy love giving on. No, you read it and see how the Most High was pleased with Tobit, right? How he was pleased with Judith, how he was pleased with David, and what he wasn't pleased with. He shows you what spirit to move in and what spirit to not move in. If you're not moving in the spirit of Yahweh Bashah, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, vexing the spirit, you're in the spirit of sin. And it's off. Okay? Now, so we know, I gotta get this other one real quick and Baruch the fourth chapter. Let's get Baruch the fourth chapter. Right. And I need one of you, you Israelites that believe you're only in sin if it's in the Torah. I want you to break this down. It's the book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God and the law that endure forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, with such as leave it shall die. Right. So right here, Baruch says this is the book of the commandments of God. Where is this at that he says, he has a Torah in his hand? Or he says he got the Torah on the side of him. I mean, let's go to Baruch the third chapter and end. Where does he say anything about the Torah? Do y'all see it? I don't see it. Like Blue's Clues, Dora the Explorer. Where is that? Show me where he's talking about the Torah here. I don't see that here. I don't see Torah. He just says, this is the book of the commandments of God. The whole Bible, the whole scriptures are the commandments of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Okay? So sin, again, is vexing the Holy Spirit, right? Not following Yahweh Shai, not following the Spirit, not following anything Yahweh Bahashem and Yahweh Shai has set up. It's a sin. Flat out. Flat out. Okay? So when we understand First Maccabees, let's go to First Maccabees, the 4th chapter. Is First Maccabees the 4th chapter carnal men feast day? No. This feast day is ordained and set up by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. The Most High. I mean, think about it. The Most High put the spirit on Judah Maccabees, Mattathias, gave them the power. They fasted, they prayed for this. They was zealous for the law. Through the spirit, they cut down, destroyed all these Edomites, these Idumeans, these Syrians, anything that opposed Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, the law, statutes, and the commandments, and the Torah, and his spirit, and he got put to flight. So we know that this holy day, this feast, is ordained from God. If the Most High God ordained a feast day and you're not keeping it, you're in sin. Why are you not keeping a good, holy feast day set up by the Most High God? You know it's something good and you choose not to do it. It's sin. All unrighteousness is sin. If you're not doing something that's morally upright, correct, holy, pure to common knowledge, it is sin. Like I said, what law says a woman can't go outside and what I mean, what it's a lot of things that don't say. You know, where in the Torah do it say you can't smoke PCP? You can't do edibles. But if you eating edibles in that camp, you forgetting precepts, it's off. What law says you can't get drunk at camp? You can't drink at camp, man. What law says that? What law says you can't get drunk? We have to stop being carnal with the Bible, man. The whole Bible is spiritual. The law is spiritual. Stop thinking Judas Maccabeus was some nigga up the street. You can debate and get some money off of, man. Judah Maccabeus is not just a regular Negro, man. That just made up his own damn, his own feast day. And it was just something they just came up with. No, if you don't keep First Maccabees the 4th chapter, if you don't keep the Day of Simon, if you don't keep destruction of Nicanor, if you don't keep Purim, these feast days that are ordained and was set up by the Most High, is the whole reason why they have the spirit of keeping it. And you're off. You're off, and you're in sin. Just like when you have Pentecost, when you have the Feast of Tabernacles, when you have the Day of Atonement, and when you don't keep these days, you're in sin. When you don't keep these days on a high level, you're in sin. When you don't hallow these days, make the Most High glad. When you don't think about the Lord and you get into His Word on these days about the things that He set up, and you're in sin. Same way when you're not. I mean, and again, who would not want to celebrate the dedication of the temple, the destruction of Edomites? I mean, the Most High dwelling with the Israelites even when they was in captivity. Allow us to fight back and start the Hasmonean dynasty, man. Right? So it would be off and wicked as hell for you to not keep this day. And what are you going to do on this day? Right? Eat burgers, get a hot dog, watch the NBA game. Listen to some new music, burp, crack your toes. What are you doing on this day? Again, it's like through the spirit, it's not set up and it wasn't ordained as a day. But you got the destruction of 70 AD, if I'm not mistaken, on August 4th or on July 4th, if I'm not mistaken. Let's look that up because I'm pretty sure. Right. And the summer month of July slash August. Let's get this right. Hold on now. Right in the month of July or August. All right, let's go down. The second temple in Jerusalem was destroyed by the Roman forces on the 9th of Av, right, which is the fire stating on August 9th or August 10th. Okay. So just like how this isn't set up, right? The Most High doesn't say he ordained it. But for that day, brothers fast on that day. Brothers think about when the temple got destroyed on that day and mourn on that day. They're in the spirit of that, right? I mean, here it goes August 9th. The temple got destroyed, and you cooking steaks and hamburgers, man, and grilling and throwing kickbacks. Hey, this same day, 1,000 years ago, hey, your forefathers being destroyed, man, being killed. Your temple was burned down. You was kicked out of your land. You got sent into Negro land, sent into Africa to dwell there until you go into captivity in 1619 for you blacks, you so-called African Americans, right? You so-called Levites, you so-called Benjamites, you so-called Haitians and Jamaicans. And then you had captivity for the Northern Kingdom Israelites in 1492. You Tainos, you Arawaks, man, or you Seminole Indians, you Native Americans, or you Cherokee Indians. With that being said, the Most High set up the Feast of Dedications. Okay. So let's go to first Maccabees chapter 4. And let's start at let's start at pick 2. Now on the 5 and 20th day of the ninth month, which is called the month Caslu, in the 148 year, they rose up betimes in the morning and offered sacrifice according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings which they had made. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs, citherns, and harps and cymbals. Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the God of heaven who have given them good success. And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days and offered burnt offerings with gladness and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise. Now let's jump down to 59. Moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the space of 8 days, and from the 5 and 20th day of the month of Caslu with mirth and gladness. So all the Israelites, right, was on one accord and said, you know what? Hey, this day should be ordained and set up by the Most High. This day should be hollow. Did Judas just make this up? Is it something that Judas felt like? No. Stop looking at a carnal. The Most High put it on his spirit. The Most High set this man up and had the story happen so we can have a reason to keep the feast day. Okay? So, obviously, we keep this feast. It's like we keep the Feast of Tabernacles. You read about that in Second Maccabees. Okay? The first and 8th days of Sabbath, a solemn assembly. You turn up in righteousness. You will bring your sacrifices, right? If you had a temple. And that's how we got down, man. Okay. Now let's keep kicking it. Let's keep kicking doctrine. All right, let's keep kicking doctrine. Let's go to John the 10th chapter. Uh-oh. Let's go to John the 10th chapter. So John chapter 10 and verse 22. You know what it is. And it was at Jerusalem the feast of the dedication, and it was winter. So hold on. It was the feast of dedication, at Jerusalem. What is this saying? This is saying at Jerusalem, you have a feast of dedication going on. Who's celebrating it? The Israelites, the Jews. Think about if your your Negro self, man, was not keeping this feast. They'd get on you. They rebuke you. What the hell are you doing? Why are you not keeping the feast? What's going on with you? Do you love us being under the Romans? The Pharisees was getting on people for plucking corn, man, for healing on the Sabbath day. You think they're not gonna get on you for not keeping the feast of dedications? Well, you would have to keep this at this time. You could not keep it. I don't feel like keeping dedication now. I did Pentecost. That was enough. Why am I keeping this? And you would have had to keep this, man. Especially if you was at Jerusalem, right? So with that being said, verse 23, and Yahweh Shai walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. So he congregating on this day. And they congregated on the feast of dedication. And what do you think they did? They had it as a solemn assembly, a holy day, and they kept this day like it says in First Maccabees and Second Maccabees. Okay, so that's plain, right? That's plain. We have understanding on the fact that you have to keep the feast of dedications. Okay, now I want to give one more point on the sin, right? So let's go to Proverbs 24. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 24, and let's start at 9. Oh, Proverbs 24 and 9. The thought of foolishness is sin. It doesn't say it's as sin. It doesn't say it's close to sin. It says the thought of foolishness is sin. Now, if you saying sin is only the Torah, well, you got to debate Solomon. You got to put Solomon in the hot seat. You got to say Solomon's adding to the law. You got to say Solomon's going off. What is it saying in the Torah? Don't be a fool. I mean, you're making the law a scapegoat for what you want to do. You're you're putting the law in a box. You're confining yourself only to just what the Torah says, which again is taken away from the whole spirit of the scriptures, man. The whole spirit of the scriptures, man. You can be keeping the law and still not be in the right spirit. Right? So you got to take it up with Solomon when he says the thought of foolishness is sin. You're damn thinking about if you was a homosexual. And that's all, man. Why are you thinking about if you was a homosexual? I don't know. If I was a homosexual, who would I be into? That's madness. That's a foolish thought. Okay. So it is sin. Its transgression is off. And that's what the precepts say. Don't take it up with me. Take it up with Solomon. Take it up with James. Take it up with John. Take it up with all these men. I mean, take it up with Baruch. Take it up with the prophet. Take it up with Samuel. Take it up with these men that are saying things are sin, but it's not quote unquote in the Torah. This is Amos chapter 8 and verse 4. So this is why I'm saying you can keep a feast day, but not be in the spirit of it. Look at the spirit of this. This is Amos 8 and 4. Hear this, O ye that swallow up the needy, even to make the poor of the land to fail, saying, when will the new moon be gone and we may sell corn? They don't want to rest on this new moon. They don't want to keep it holy on the new moon. They say, you know what, man? When is shit gonna be over with, man? So I can go get this money, man. I got to get this money. I got wives. I got field and land and corn. I got shit I gotta do, man. When is new moon gonna be done with? When is this feast day of God gonna be over? I'm tired of this, man. I'm tired of congregate. I don't even like this nigga over here, man. I'm tired of congregate. Who knows the spirit they was in? When is day? Shit over it, man. Treating it like school or something. And the Sabbath. And the Sabbath. When is the Sabbath done? Man, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of resting, man. I've been resting for 18 hours. I've been resting for 12 hours, man. When is the Sabbath still gonna be over with? This is not the being delighted in the commandments. This is off. This is sin. That we may set forth wheat, making the ephah small. Right? What is the ephah? It's talking about a type of measurement. Well, they're gonna make it small. They're trying to get over, man. They're trying to short you. I'm gonna short the ephah and make the shekel great. Make the price high and falsify the balances by the seat. We know the Most High is not dealing with a false balance. That's Proverbs 11 and 1. And you doing this is sin. You're not loving your brother. You're then being deceitful, dealing falsely. Hey, this whole spirit is off and it's sin. This is a spirit of sin. This is the spirit of Satan. This is not the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. So with that being said, man, you can quote unquote keep the law in the carnality, but not be really keeping the law. You're not truly keeping you're not keeping the new moon if you're in that spirit. You know, you kind of congregate for 5 minutes, like it's a damn Christmas party or something. Yeah, so I'm gonna just show my face. I'm gonna pop out. You know, I'm gonna pop out. You know, and it is what it is. I'm on my way out. No, okay. Now another thing, we have to understand that the Most High gives orders and He gives ordinances from men of the Most High God. Let's go to 1 Corinthians, the 11th chapter. Paul is a mighty man of God. Paul is a chosen vessel of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Paul did more work than all the other apostles. Paul set up churches. Paul believed in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua and eventually Yahushua. Paul understand, he was a doctor of the law. He had the breakdowns. He had advice. He was righteous. He's the elect. He's acknowledged by Peter. Okay, he knows the mysteries. He knows more than you. Okay, Paul is higher than any Israelite right now at this time. Okay, no brother, no disrespect to the elders, Abba Bivens, none of the mighty elders at One West, none of them were on the level of Paul. Paul had spiritual power. Paul had understanding of the mysteries, the prophecies. Paul was in a time of the apostles who saw Yahushua. Okay, Paul was so worthy to get a trance from Yahushua. I mean, Paul was a hard worker. Paul was an apostle. Paul was a saint. Paul set up the 7 churches, if I'm not mistaken, in Revelations, man. So with that being said, man, this man, the Lord is dealing with him. The Lord is dealing with Paul. We cannot say Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua on the right-hand side isn't dealing with Paul. We can't say that. He has too many works. He has too much fruit. He is dealing with this man. So when the Most High is setting up ordinances, statutes from himself through Paul, you are to keep it as law. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 1. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Yahushua. Remember, he's a first chosen vessel. Acts chapter 9 and verse 3. Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you. Paul set up ordinances. Nehemiah set up ordinances. What does it say? You can't buy or sell on the Sabbath in the Torah. Where's that at? It's not in there. But hey, Nehemiah set up the ordinance that, hey, we're not going to buy or sell any of this when they're trying to sell us on the Sabbath day. So is Nehemiah off? Is he adding to the Torah? Is he adding to the breakdown? No. These ordinances are supposed to be set and treated as law. Because the Most High said it through these prophets, through these men of the Most High, through these elect, righteous, holy vessels. Verse 3, but I will have you know that the head of every man is Yahushua, right? Is Christ. And the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God, right? And he gives the ordinances, right? So with that being said, we're going to stop being carnal with the law of God. Keep the day of Simon. Keep a destruction of Nicanor. Keep the feast of dedications. Keep Purim. Keep these holy days. Okay? Why? The Most High God had these things set up. He divinely ordained these things. They are good. They are holy. They are pure. If you do things, if you know something is good, you don't do it, it's sin. It will be unrighteous. It will not be morally correct for you to be on the same time of Judah Maccabeus, right? Them dying, putting their life on the line, man. Putting the life on the line for the temple, for the commandments. And your ass to be cracking your toes, man. Treating it like a normal day. Right, give me let's get Sirach 33. Right, the most high hallows days. So look at Sirach chapter 33 and verse 7. Why doeth one day excel another? When as all the light of every day is in the year, in the year is of the sun. All right, so a carnal man, a low level man, a fleshly man, a natural man can say, well, hold on, why are one day excelling another? The sun always come up, the sun always go down. I mean, the clouds are there, it's air still around. I mean, the moon's gonna come up at night. Why is a day different than another day? Who determines the days being different? By the knowledge of Yahweh, they were distinguished, and he altered seasons and feasts. Some of them have he made high days and hallowed them, and some of them have he made ordinary days. Okay, so the feast of dedication isn't an ordinary day. It isn't ordinary days. These are high days, and we obviously know our forefathers kept them. Okay, and we see in John the 10th chapter and 22, the Jews keep the feast of dedications. Okay, and they keep this tradition. They keep this custom. They keep this ordinance. They keep this law of the feast of dedication. Okay. So with that being said, it was a multiple precepts I could have pulled. But yes, you do have to keep the feast of dedications. If you don't, you're in sin. Right? You're in the sin of not keeping the feast of dedications. That's the problem. That's the issue. That is the sin that you are charged with. Now let me get Matthew 23. Right, again, we're not following the traditions of low level men, which is like the Pharisees. You had them 6 basins of water at the marriage of Cana of Galilee, where you had a lot of traditions. You had to wash your hands before eating. These are things rooted not in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua and not divinely ordained, right? These are coming from hypocritical men, or men who don't believe in Yahushua. Right? You don't have to follow that. But things that's set up and ordained from men that follow Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, you have to keep that, man. It is what it is. That's the feast day. It is what it is. This is Matthew 23, and let me see what I want to start. Because this whole thing, he's getting on the Pharisees. He's getting on them over and over. He talks about, them being in the wicked spirit, of killing the prophets, or even from the beginning. But this is Matthew 23. I'm gonna start at 20. Start at 24. Ye blind guides, which strain at a net and swallow a camel. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees. What does it mean you strain at a net? I mean, think about, you see a net, reaching all out, you damn falling over, tripping over, trying to hit a net. Can't hit it. Yeah, you're contemning a little thing. You're stressing out about a small thing. And swallow a camel. You know damn well you can't swallow a camel. You're stressing yourself out. You're going crazy over something. Man. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye make clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess. Thou blind Pharisee, Cleanse first that which is within the cup and the platter, that the outside of them may be clean also. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye are like unto whited sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness. Okay? So, with that being said, it's not moving the spirit of a wicked doctrine, false apostles, right? Pharisees, wicked men that are being carnal about following the feast days of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. All right? Right? So, say Colossians, the second chapter. Right? That's not in the law spirit. That right there is a tradition of men. All right, Colossians chapter 2. And let's start at it's like I think it's 3. Or maybe it's like it. It's like it. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like I just read past this. Colossians 2 and 8. Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. Philosophy and vain deceit is it's not the word of God unless the Most High God is speaking. That's philosophy. Where is that in the Bible? Where in the Bible does it say the word of God is only when he's directly speaking? It's not in there. Where in the Bible does it say if you don't, it's like it, where in the Bible does it say if you only break the law, that's the only time you're in sin? It don't say that. It say plenty of times outside of that that you can do something that's not in the Torah, that's a sin. These are philosophies. Okay? These are vain deceit. This is not the spirit of God. The Lord said in 1 John 4 and 1, try the spirits of God. That is not the spirit of God. After the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. Hey, the Feast of Dedication is about Yahweh Shai. I mean, through the Spirit. Well, he's the one cleansing up the temple. He's the, he's the one that keeps us on fire, that gives us the oil. I mean, like I said, if you're looking at the feast days as carnal things, I mean, you're on your way out of here. I'm gonna get this last one. I'm gonna get this last one in 1 Peter, 2nd chapter. So we obviously see Yahweh Shai keep the Feast of Dedications. Okay. This is 1 Peter chapter 2, and let's start at 21. For even here too were ye called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example that ye shall follow his steps. We have to follow the steps of Yahweh Shai. If you're not following the steps of Yahweh Shai, you're in sin. Yahweh Shai kept the Feast of Dedications. Yahweh Shai hallowed that day. Yahweh Shai congregated that day. Hey, he kept this. We have to follow in the steps and keep the feast day of dedication. If you don't, hey, you're in sin. And why did he keep it? Did he keep it because for shits and giggles? He thought it was cool? No, because if you didn't keep it, you would be in sin. That's why it's even written there, him doing it. He didn't sin. He didn't go off. Who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth. Okay? So with that being said, we have to keep the feast days. We have to keep feast dedication, Day of Simon, Destruction of Nicanor, Purim, and all the feast days that's divinely inspired by the Most High. Like it says in Acts chapter 5, verse 49. If it be of the Most High, you cannot overthrow it. Right? Let's happily be even found to fight against God. Okay? So with that being said, now I want to say shalom to the 12 tribes, shalom to Israel. Keep these feast days, keep the commandments, and keep the ordained days of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. With that, shalom. All right, shalom.